One word. One hypnotist, Chris Jones. Chris Jones. One word.
It's the One Word Chris Jones podcast. My name is Bob Schmidt. It's a podcast for hire.com production. And I'm in the living room, or I should say the dining room of Chris Jones. First of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me come out when I told you I was going to be here.
Absolutely. No, you were writing and you were saying, yeah, so we'll hang out tomorrow. And I was like, you know, the show that I have is September 6th, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm at Lake Chicago. And I was like, I don't know what lake that is. But if you're in Chicago, let's hang out. So
exactly. So I came out here, check out your place, which is excellent. But you and I, we've got a history, probably a 10-year history.
That sounds fair. At least nine. But yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I was going back on Facebook memories, stuff keeps popping up, you know, and I'm like, wow. And then there's like you and Brandon and you and Shane.
All the way in Japan right now.
In Japan, yeah. So I've always had a good time. But I want to talk to you about your shirts first, okay?
Okay.
Stay woke.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
It's just like an oxymoron of me being a hypnotist but wanting people to be awake.
Right.
So I thought that was funny. But I was doing a show and I was driving back from Michigan and I was tired. I had some edibles in my body, and I pulled over to a Walgreens, and as soon as I enter, and now I'm officially high, and I'm a little paranoid, and this tall white guy, and we're all wearing masks because it's COVID, he says, what does stay woke mean? Yeah, right?
I got my mask on.
What does stay woke mean? And I was like, I mean, I'm a hypnotist. He's like, no, what does it mean to you? And I was like, I think it's being socially conscious, being aware of like your actions and society. And he goes, oh, okay. Because I see that all the time on like Facebook and I don't know. And then he's like, thanks. And I was thinking he was going to be like rude or aggressive, or he's like, you're PC police. But he just honestly wanted to know. But I think that's part of wearing masks. You don't know what people's intentions are.
Right. But a lot of it's eye reading though, and you are a people person that watch. I mean, you watch what people are doing, and you pay attention to the cues that people give and stuff. So I'm surprised that something like the eyes would be goofy for you.
I guess. Well, part of it was me being high, and I'll accept the other part was probably my bias of here's an older white man. I'm in Michigan, and I don't know. Sometimes I have an air around me of like, I know how ways should be in life, and I know how things should be done. But he just was like, you know, I'm older. I'm on social media to some degree, and I see it all the time, and I don't understand what it means literally.
Right.
So,
well, that's pretty cool. Do you think that the walls of society have been broke down or harder now than they used to be?
Now, it's an election year.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of BS for everybody.
I'm scared to go on Facebook because like I posted something and then this person posted that, and not only is it an election year, like an African American was just shot by police, I think 7 times in the back
in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
And so I have my black card, but I have my Wisconsin card because I went to school there. So I posted something, and this person was like, whoa, this person had a criminal record. And they do that all the time with these people who get shot by police. Oh, they had a criminal record. Like, why are we upset? This is not a good person. And I was like, oh, sidebar. I messaged this person. I'm like, hey, I didn't know this person had a record. They had a court date, but that doesn't mean they did these things necessarily. They had a court date. They were going to move forward. And so we made peace, and I was like, man, this is great, because he was like, Chris, I knew you back in college, and you were so funny. And he's like, I'll never forget you running around campus with nitroglycerin in your shorts and like making steam while you're running. I'm like, that's me. Like, I did that. That's funny. But then last night, everyone's posting like, dude, this guy's an asshole. And I'm like, I haven't checked since. We made peace. So, like, that's the beauty of the internet. Things are forever.
Yeah. So do you let when people say stuff like that? You let that kind of stuff bother you?
It bothers me when it's not correct. Like when Trump said there's never been a Category 5 hurricane before. Like, that's not accurate. Like, he said that in 2019. Hurricane Katrina in 2003, 2004, that was a Category 5. Because Kanye West came on and was like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. He said that during the telethon, and Mike Myers was awkward standing next to him, and there was a memorable moment. And I was like, wow, all these people in Louisiana died because there was no relief, there was no food, there was no fresh water. Babies died. That was Category 5. So for him to say in 2019 there's never been a Category 5 hurricane, I get you're trying to deny that the earth is getting hot and we're not taking care of the earth like we should, but when it's just not accurate. That's what annoys me. You're allowed to say Democrats, Republicans, Independents are better, but it's like, I live on this address. I know that. Mm-hmm. There's no debating that.
Speaking of Mother Earth,
you like that? A little distracting.
The last time that I came to visit you,
yeah,
you lived in Hyde Park and you had this in the window at your place. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I remember you showed that to me, and it was cool that it moved around in your hand.
Yeah, this is my solar powered Earth, and you can't see the solar panels. I don't know how they engineered that, but it's a globe and it's beautiful, and it just spins with the light, and it spins on the table. And my wife Staci, when I was dating her, she didn't want an engagement ring, so I got her this, and I was like, we're gonna see the world, and then COVID happened. So we're seeing the inside of our house.
We
had to take a break. Yeah, we're seeing each other.
Okay, so I got to ask you, because we'll talk about the world in a second, but I'm getting a little thirsty because we've been talking for a while.
Oh, please, buddy.
And you poured me.
This is raw kombucha. It's called Synergy,
okay.
And it's Watermelon Wonder.
Okay, and you asked me if I ever heard of it, and I've heard of it, and I heard that some people love it, some people hate it. Yep. I've never tried it before.
There's no added sugar. If you want it, you can have some more.
All right, well, I'm going to try it first.
Please.
So we got to see. So it's actually, it just looks like a watermelon juice, honestly.
It's carbonated.
Okay.
It'll throw you off.
It's actually not bad.
Okay. Not bad works.
It's like it kind of tastes like a watermelon rind.
Yeah.
And pickles.
Mm-hmm. So that pickle taste, there is some sodium in there, just a little bit. 10 milligrams, 1% of what you should have in a day, allegedly. But it's black tea, it's green tea, it's watermelon juice, and it's fermented. And so maybe you get that nice taste.
Can I have some more of this?
Please, that's all yours.
Actually, I like it. It's different enough that it's different. But I do like I like club soda. That's one of my favorite things to drink.
Yep. Anything carbonated, I'll drink. Then my backup drink is this cream soda. Yeah. Diet cream soda.
I probably won't even drink the cream soda. I'll probably just drink this.
Drink them both.
But this is good stuff.
You know, it sounds so bad.
Kombucha?
Kombucha.
Kombucha. Okay.
Yeah. My catchphrase, and it's always appropriate, but I was like, put in your body. Here's some drugs. Put in your body. Here's some alcohol. Put in your body.
There's no drugs in this, is there? Mm-mm. I still got to drive that way.
I would warn you.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the world. So I know that you've done some traveling. Where do you want to go?
That's a great question. We want to see Egypt. I haven't been to Africa. Like, we've been to Europe together. We've been to Asia. We've been to South America. We went to Jamaica, the Caribbean. But either Australia or the African continent. Yeah.
Do you want to perform when you're there?
Oh, absolutely. I want that tax write-off. But
that's the main reason right there for the tax write-off.
Also, if I go somewhere and I'm not working, I have to do something productive. I have to have a really thick book with me. Of course, Staci has to be with me. But I like working.
So what are you doing now that we're in the COVID times?
I am trying to grow vegetables. Like, I'm growing spinach, and I'm working on a virtual show. I've been hypnotizing people virtually. Like, I did a show with Illinois Institute of Technology, which is all of 6 miles away.
Right.
And it's a great engineering school, one of the best in the nation. And we did it at 8 o'clock at night on Sunday. And people go on to Zoom, and I talk with them, I shoot the shit, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to hypnotize people. And then someone popped in and was like, hey, where are you calling from? Where are you? She's like, oh, I'm a student from Nigeria. And I was like, oh, cool. So, like, you're not in your dorm. Where are you? And she goes, oh, I'm in Nigeria now. I was like, what? It's like, what time is it? She's like, oh, 1 a.m. And I go, oh, well, thank you for being here. I have to ask, sorry to be morbid a bit, what's the death rate for COVID in Nigeria? And she said, oh, now this is an engineering student. She goes, I want to check the number so I don't give you the wrong information. So she's like, hold on, please. And she like pulls up and she's like, hold on, please, just a moment. And she gave me the number of cases, recoveries, confirmed cases. And then she goes, okay, and 1,022 deaths. And I said, today? She's like, no, like 1,022 deaths, period. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, I think like Nigeria is like the most populated country in Africa. And this other student's like, let me check. He's like, yes, Chris, you are correct. And he's like, here's the numbers of people. So it's proportionate to the United States. And I was like, damn, like if you doubled America's population, added a few more, that would be Nigeria. So what a wonderful world it would be if we had like 2,000 deaths instead of 170,000.
Right.
And I was like, all right, let's start the hypnosis show now.
Did it work? Were you able to hypnotize people?
Yeah,
over the...
I've done a show for Drake University and IIT, both last week. I've had 4 virtual shows, Adelphi University, and I've been doing in-person shows with people social distancing. I've been wearing a mask. It still works. My numbers aren't as high. My success rate isn't as high, but I do think a lot is lost in the mask and the nuance of the timing with jokes. And when people are in a room together and squeezed in tight, there's usually a better feeling of connectedness and laughing.
Is it like a crowd mentality when you've got that many people
I
together?
think so, yeah. Yeah, like if you're in a classroom and it's cozy versus a classroom or a lecture hall.
Is it possible, because you and I have talked in the past about you said that almost anybody can be hypnotized, right?
Yep.
Can a deaf person be hypnotized?
I've never done it successfully. I've had people who are seeing impaired and people who are deaf try to get hypnotized with me at live shows. Mm-hmm. So the basic hang up with someone who can't see, visually impaired, I say close your eyes if their eyes are open or closed, either way. And then I go tapping on the shoulder, listen to me, and now wake up. Can you say your name? That's my go-to test. And they're like, my name is this. Like, okay, it didn't work. I'm really sorry. Enjoy the rest of the show. Mm-hmm. For someone who's deaf, I have to tangibly touch them. Like, you can read lips? Cool. Read my lips. In a few moments, you're going to relax, let go, keep your eyes open, and then I'll be tapping you. And each tap you feel relaxes you even more. And let go. And then I can give you a double tap or something, and that will open your eyes. So I've worked on it for 2-3 years at like the same school in Minnesota, because there's always a nice student who always volunteers. And I'm like, I'm going to get you this year, man. I'm going to get you this year. And he's like, I know you will. I'm like, I'm doing my best.
So what about somebody that speaks a different language?
Yeah.
Will English transform them into a hypnotic state?
I've done a show at Morton College, which is down the street, and my girlfriend Staci was there, and my buddy Steve was there, and no one got hypnotized. And like everyone in that area is at least bilingual. They speak Spanish and English. And I was like, let me try the induction again, the sleep process. Let me try it one more time. And I said, can someone translate? And I go, 1, 2, 1, 3. The double sleep, duerme. And this lady went out. Only one lady. And I don't think she was a student. I know she wasn't. I think she was either a custodian or like a mom. And I was like, can you translate? When you translate, you can see through my clothing and you're embarrassed for me. I'm naked in front of all these people. 3, 2, 1. He translate, wide awake. And then she was so funny, like, oh no, no. And she's covering up, no. And for 20 minutes, I shit you not, it never lost its edge. She's like, no, no. She didn't say anything but no, just covering me up. And I was like, thank you, good night. That's my show. I'm going to unhypnotize her with your help, and we will go. But
so when you do a show like that, when only one person or no people get hypnotized, what do you do?
Only one show I've had where no one got, maybe like, I don't know, once every 3 years. There's a show when no one gets hypnotized. It's usually like the worst paying shows and like under the worst conditions. I did a holiday party in Wisconsin, and it was a business, it was a corporation. They're like, you have 50 minutes to do your thing, and we're bringing out the steaks right now, so start. And I was like, there's no way
they're bringing out food.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, that's.
There's no way they're gonna focus on me
yeah.
and enjoy a steak at the same time. Like, no. And I tried, and I was like, if you go out in the audience, because no one wanted to volunteer, like, don't touch them. So this lady went out in the audience. I was like, great. And her husband's like, wake up. And I was like, sir, like, this is my act. And I was like, all right, no one get hypnotized. I'm gonna sit here and play music. And I just had my head so low. And people were like, we're a really tough audience. It's okay. You were really good. We know. I was like, well, why weren't you nicer? Why did they bring out the steak? And I apologized to the lady who booked me, and she's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm going to give you half your money back. She's like, yeah, you do that. And I was like, and then I...
Really? And
yeah.
she actually took it back?
Yeah. It was only $600.
Oh.
Yeah, so, but still.
But sometimes, I mean, okay, for a person, because you pay out of that, you pay
your
drive, you pay
yeah.
your place to stay, you pay your, your agent, so there's a cut out of that. So out of that money, you don't get it all anyway.
No. And that
there's
was
time, and there's other stuff all included in that.
I could have been somewhere else making way more money, but I was like, this Wisconsin town needs my comedy. They need me to make their holiday a success.
So for those that we've hung out, and
yeah.
I've seen you, like what you just said there, these people need my whatever. So have you always been a giver?
Yeah. And I've learned that through therapy. That's not me being modest. I will sit on someone's couch and I will tell them the issues that I see, things that I can't understand. And the therapist said, you probably like Staci so much because you like to give, and you found someone who doesn't want anything from you.
Staci's pretty awesome.
She's pretty legit.
And you guys are going to be mom and dad pretty soon.
We're the baby's room is upstairs. I'll let you take a look at the baby's room. We painted it together. I'm reading baby's books. She wants me to hypnotize her so there's no pain.
Really?
Legitimately. So.
And you've never hypnotized her before?
Never, which is funny.
So that's is that weird? Does that scare you?
Of course I don't want to be like, sleep and there's no pain, there's pressure, there's no pain, and then she's giving birth and she's like, there's so much pain, I
You're
hate
an
you.
asshole.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm failing you. And my child comes out like, what the hell? And I'm like, her first words are, fail.
I hate you.
I know. Way to go, Dad. You hurt Mom.
But I mean, so that's a lot of pressure. I mean, isn't it?
We have an understanding, like, we're not going to do completely natural if there's any harm, and we're always going to listen to the medical experts first.
Right.
But we have a doula, and we have a hypnotist, and my wife is pretty tough to begin with, and we're learning all this stuff. And there are some women who don't feel the pain, and it's just the way their brains are wired legitimately. And so we'll see. We'll see where Staci is in that category.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just got to say, with this kombucha,
Mm-hmm.
I like the flavor. Makes me want to burp.
Yeah, it's carbonated. You can burp.
Oh, I have been.
Oh, you're real subtle with it.
I have been.
Didn't know. Yeah, you'll probably have an energy peak too. Like, it's a lot of caffeine in there.
Oh, there is.
But it's all natural, if that makes a difference.
It's
not like
natural caffeine.
It's not like, yeah, it's black tea, it's green tea. It's not like
okay.
Red Bull.
Yeah, that stuff's horrible. You ever had that? You probably have, because you're work at night.
I have. Sometimes
I don't like it.
you're like, I know this is not going to be great, but I'm going to put in my body.
Yeah.
It's not a happy put in my body.
There's a lot of things that I've done. So I know that that weed is legal in Illinois.
Yes, it is.
So we're in Illinois right now. We're in Illinois right now, so it's okay. But I just wanted to say,
not insane to you? Like,
I just wanted to say that I tried something that I hadn't done in like 30 years since I was in high school. Mm-hmm. My kids might be listening to this, but
as they should be.
But yeah, so I smoked weed for the first time in 30 years, and it was way different than it was 30 years ago.
Yes.
It was a lot more potent than it was. And just like 2 puffs or 2 whatever that is.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like, whoohoo!
It totally depends on what strand you're having, where you are in the world. Like, see, the burps. Sorry. Staci and I were in Seattle. We were hiking, and I gave her some weed, Like, I shotgun into her mouth, so I take a puff and blow into her mouth, and then she was just paranoid there were bears going to get us.
Oh, really?
And so, like, it's good to have a good wing person who can just be like, oh, no, there are no bears. You're just high. It goes away in an hour. You're just high. It goes away. But if you had this in Wisconsin and you got pulled over, you'd probably get a fine. But here in Chicago and Illinois, it's like, yeah, of course. This flower is not going to hurt you.
That's pretty cool.
The flower is not going to hurt you.
Right.
And like if you went, I think Alabama is not legal for recreational or medicinal. Medicinal. So it's just ridiculous that.
And it was weird too with like an edible, because I had an edible like, before I smoked weed, and I know that people said you should do it the other way around, but the edible, I couldn't even put 2 words. I mean, if I was saying diet cream soda, I'd be like, I was like cream soda diet,
Yeah, a word order does get messed up with weed,
which was really weird. Because I've drank a lot of beers and a lot of whiskey in my life.
It's different. Also, you'll have to look up the science if you're listening and you care. When your body consumes weed and you ingest it, it metabolizes in your liver and creates a different chemical. And that chemical makes it stronger. Whereas you puff it, goes to your lungs, hits your brain, whatever. But when the liver is involved,
then it's a whole
you're in a good time, yeah.
All right, and then I also got to say too. So when I was here the first time that you and I were in Chicago, and you said malort, that I should that I should try malort. So a while back, my buddy and I were in Chicago, and we were at this bar, and I was looking for malort because you had told me about it. My dad had told me about it too within a couple of weeks of the time that I was here, and I thought, well, if I can find this stuff ever, I'm going to try it. So I ended up having malort at this one bar. I get it, and it was like a shot of vomit. I mean,
yes.
it was
a shot of vomit.
It was like a bad verb.
You can say anything about malort. You can call it shot of vomit. You can call it urine in a bucket. And they won't sue you because they're like, yeah, we get it. Like, oh, it's paint thinner with alcohol. Yep, we get it. We are horrible.
But it was weird. So I did the one shot, and then I had to have another one to make sure that it was that bad.
Yeah.
So then somebody said that you should try for not, because they said if you're ever out in San Francisco, try this shot called for not. And so the weird thing was that I was here, and then like 2 weeks later, I was visiting my brother in San Francisco. So I'm like, we have to have this for not. And for not tasted like Jägermeister without the sweet.
Okay, interesting.
But it was another bad tasting booze.
I've never met a man who likes. I can't even think. I'm trying to say Merlot. What's the thing?
Merlot.
Yeah, I've never met a man who likes that.
I've said Merlot.
I want Merlot. Like, no, Merlot. Yeah.
I want that really shitty drink.
Yeah. I've met ladies who are like, it's an acquired taste, and I'm like, I shouldn't date you.
So at the bar that I tried it at, they had it, and there was only this much left in the bottle. So I got that one, and then when I got that, these people at the bar said, we're in. So then they did a shot. That's why I did the second one, because they love it.
Yeah, well...
Crazy.
Some people need to sit in a therapist chair as well. That's what I say to that.
Well, let's introduce people to your dogs and then wrap this up.
Yeah, this is Mo, and that's Mo's collar. He was, I guess he's Pickle's therapy dog, because Pickles got anxious when we would leave. He would tear up our sofa. Uh-huh. And so Pickles needed a friend, and we got Mo. And this dog was $100 with a bag of food and a leash.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
That's a great deal.
Chris Jones, bargain shopper.
Yeah. His original name, they just gave him the name of the pound, was Rufio. Uh-huh. And that lasted for all of a week, because it's too much to yell Rufio. And I wasn't going to yell it out like, Rufy! Like...
Yeah, then people be like,
come here, Rufy.
What?
Like, excuse me.
What's going on here? How do we find out more information about Chris Jones? One word, Chris Jones.
Online, www.hypnotistchrisjones.com. Other than that, at some point I'm going to drop a book. So please, buy my book.
It's going to be a kid's book?
No. It's going to be like Misadventures of the Road. I'm looking at titles right now, and I've had 3 important phone calls in my life, and they're based on the 3 phone calls. Like when I got hired with my agency, when my uncle died, he was killed, he was shot, and the last phone call was when my mentor Ronald Rashawn, he's like, Chris, you're fucking up. Like, I'm working at a school and I'm hearing rumors about you, and you got to get your head on straight, son. And he's like, I love you, and that's why I'm calling you. If I didn't care, I wouldn't call you. And so it's based on those 3 phone calls I had, and like just the weaving of stories and people through them. Stay woke.
The Chris Jones Podcast, a podcastforhire.com production.
Find entertainer and hypnotist Chris Jones at hypnotistchrisjones.com. The One Word Chris Jones Podcast, a podcast for hire production.